Oh, yes, definitely.
I also
Yes.
recommended, the public works department, the yard there is a perfect place.
Perfect place. And I also believe so, though, there's some areas that outside of Roseau you could do parking and you could create a couple jobs there by people. You park your car, you pay something,
Hmm.
and people are looking over your car for you until you're ready to take it out,
And you
and so
don't you don't gypsy tax into it in the
right
roads.
in the Roseau,
A
yes,
dollar.
yes, a dollar.
Create something buzzing in the
Bustling
economy.
economy, yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes. But good afternoon to you. I think Rosie Felix joined us as well. And we want to say good afternoon to you, Rosie. How are you doing today? How are you?
Hi,
Season,
Matt, and all
se-
your listeners, and also,
season greetings to you.
well, thank you, and you too.
You too. You had a great season.
Oh, and it continues into a jubilee year.
Jubilee. Wow.
Yes, 2025 is a jubilee year, man.
All right.
The Pope has declared 2025 as a jubilee year,
Okay.
so I'm looking forward to great things.
Things you're speaking. Let's say you said, yeah, for you.
Yes,
It didn't
we
happen.
declare it.
I declare it.
I
Yes.
declare great things for Dominica.
Ah.
Yes, we, we, we have to.
We have to
We have to, Matt. We have to.
because we are citizens of our country.
Exactly. We have to
I mean, we have the
share the
potential,
good
yes,
things. Yes,
to live abroad,
the
but we
peace.
still here.
Hmm. Even if Buple knew that. Remember, Buple. Some of us got to stay at home.
Yes,
Yes, yes, yes.
Some must go. Some of us got to stay at home, and those of us who remain at home must live in peace
I'm
and
sure. I'm
dignity.
sure you have been given the opportunity to leave, Rose.
I attempted to go. I wanted to go some years ago. I wanted to go. But I never see someone so desperate to go. And when they tell you no vacancy,
Oh,
you throw up your arms in the air
yourself.
and rejoice. Well, mainly I value family a lot, and
Okay.
as a child, I saw spouses go away, lead husbands, and
Left.
after that, the family just broke apart,
That's
and
true. That's true.
I never wanted that to happen to my family. And so, and in fact, I wanted to go away so much. I remember one time saying to God, "But God, everybody's going. What about my flight? My flight is not coming." And He said, "I've got work for you to do at home."
Okay.
Seriously, Matt. He said, "I've got work for you to do at home." So although I've wanted to go, I have no regret. I'm migrating. I'm quite happy. Yeah, there are a lot of things that should change here, and that's why I'm here this afternoon.
All right. Well, I would say again, also too. I'm sure you had the opportunity to leave and go. I too.
Yes,
When I
yes.
graduated from school many years ago, I was in the Dale Danielson era,
You're right.
and when I left college at the time, I just got an opportunity, and I decided I was coming home many years ago.
Well, but I can say
Never looked back.
for me, I have traveled extensively.
Yes.
And sometimes you go away meeting to some activities and you're praying for the time to come for it to finish for you to hop up and back home.
That's so true. That's so
There's
true.
something
There's
about
something
Dominica,
about
yes.
Dominica.
Yeah,
Everybody wants to be home.
yeah.
You go away for a little while, but you want to taste it.
Yes, people want to, those who've gone away, they want to come back home and retire and enjoy
Yes.
Dominica, someone to come back to contribute because they still have,
Always
you
at
know,
some age there, you get to 60, 61. Well, let me go back home. You get that feeling.
yeah,
Let's talk because we want to start the discussion. I know we want to talk electoral reform and that's on the agenda, but I want to discuss this morning. We had a hot subject, if you will. Many people disagreed, but I kept my point as it relates to the report card from the ERC. You saw that, Rosie? You
I
saw that.
did, I did.
I see you guys gave economy an F, health an F, education an F, tourism an F, agriculture an F, manufacturing an F, sports an F, which is what I had a problem with, arts and culture an F, social services an F, housing a D, why D, and youth development F, community development F, environment F, and electoral reform F, citizenship by investment program F, garbage collection an F. I'll give them an E on that one. Capital city roads F, cost of living F, corruption A plus, nepotism A plus, victimization A plus, CO A plus plus, and select citizen elections A plus plus plus. thus the need for electoral reform, true electoral reform. Your comments on justice report card.
So yes, Matt, we grade government,
Okay.
its performance, and how it lead things in the economy
Mm,
and in the society. And they're in the power to push themselves,
mm,
beyond the norm, push themselves.
okay.
You go to the health center, hospital, and you see nurses and doctors who are pushing themselves. When you speak to them, they say the system, the administration of the system is lacking. And even, for example, in the hospital and in the health centers, medication is lacking. I was at the health center and the lady came and she asked someone there for some paracetamol. And the lady responded to her, what we have in there is just for our patient. So we can't even give somebody some paracetamol. It means that you really have a problem. But I respect your view, Matt. And as when I call this, when I said everybody have their own opinion and they can grade. But if you grade honestly and sincerely what you're saying to the person or persons or institution that you're grading, that, hey, take stock, we need to do better, and so forth. So therefore, if you're a lazy government, if you're irresponsible government, you just settle in your own ways and then things just flow um, in its own way and it will fall apart.
Rosie?
But Matt, I want to focus on the A's.
The A's.
Yeah, the A's, because hadn't we hadn't we given
A plus, A minus, which one?
the all the A's,
Okay, all right.
all the A's, corruption and nepotism. Matt, had government not been corrupt,
I,
all the other areas where they got F or even it was C, it means we could have gotten better. We could have done better in every other area wait not for the corrupt practices of this government, and that is why we are where we are with electoral reform. They're refusing to give proper electoral reform, even using the reform to legitimize their corruption, especially when it comes to election. So yes, we could do much better. If I didn't hear your opinion on the grades, but anytime you have that magnitude, that level of corruption, it means other areas are suffering. Other areas are suffering. Health is suffering because of corruption. People tend not to see, like they see the corruption apart from. It's affecting everything, every family and every institution, every industry, our health, our education. We could be much better. So they just give us the minimal, so we won't give them a 0%, or I don't know what grade you give. They'll get a D or just a P,
I just
just for sake.
I just moved the grade from F to D as it relates to sports, but
Okay.
nothing else.
Well,
I never change. I never
well,
change.
here you go. Here you go. Education officers themselves are complaining. They're not happy. My husband worked in education for a while with this enhancement development program,
Uh huh.
and they did um provided training at university level, college and university level, for so many programs, especially vocational programs, and equipment just sitting there for hairdressing, for manicure and pedicure, for a variety of things, skills. Because when people have
And they're sitting
skills,
there.
yes, they're sitting there and not including at the grammar school. The grammar school was never able to use those products because, Matt, not everybody um born, with that brain for academics.
Yeah.
For academics, I was pleased to hear teacher Luford talk about the vocational
Aspect.
aspect that they removed from the school, and the government know why they did that, because when people have skills, you don't wait on anybody. There's always somebody always looking for a plumber, somebody always looking for a painter, somebody always looking for a grass cutter, somebody always looking for an electrician. Those basic skills that people learn, ordinary boys and girls. Sewing equipment. No matter how much we import and we shop on online,
Amazon and
when
so
it come to our Creole clothes, who making them best? Our own people.
our own hands.
Mad with our own hands and our crafts. But where skills matter, because people can always have money in their hands, that is where they have hit the hardest.
All right. Let's say good afternoon to Nicholas George. Are you there, Mr. Nicholas?
Yes,
Yes.
good afternoon, Matt. Yes, I'm there.
How are you, sir? Good to greetings to you on the season.
Thank you very much, and I extend greetings to you and your listeners, the constituents of Collier, Bios, and Jubla,
All right.
Dominicans listening in Dominica and abroad.
Well, we were actually talking about the report card. I'm sure you have seen the report card given by the ERC. What's your take on what you saw this morning?
I think the report card was very generous to the government.
Generous.
Yes.
Why would you say that?
Well, we should have modeled or formed up a new alphabet
Uh-huh.
because stopping at F, that's where I'm saying that the generosity is towards the government. Okay. Okay. For instance, I heard Mrs. Felix speak she spoke a while ago on the skills program, and we just go one place. Currently, we have the biggest public sector program in Dominica. It build the construction of the international airport, and we have to be begging the government for Dominicans to be employed on that site. And when they get employed, if they get employed at all, they get the menial tasks. There was a time when we had Camp Londonderry, and our people learned skills at Camp Londonderry. We had the Public Works Department, where our machinists built parts for the Caterpillar engines that were cutting roads all around the island. So when you worked at Public Works, you didn't just move a Caterpillar. You had young people who were learning how to build parts at Public Works to repair the machines that were on island. And you just spoke to that place a while ago, and you said it would serve as a good parking lot. So from training young people in developing skills, mechanical skills, to a parking lot, that cannot be just an F. Cannot be an F. It has to be something past Z. All right. On agriculture, I remember once, I think it was the director of Dexia, who in reporting on our trade balance in a particular year, I think 2010 or thereabouts, the foreign trade for us was $580 million import, and export was 89 million. And I would dare the manager of Dexia now to speak to that issue as to what it is now. So we are importing our food at a great imbalance, for 500% over what we are exporting. And we can provide most, if not all, the commodities that we import into Dominica. So that goes to the economy as well. So if you don't have the infusion of these funds within, or the bringing in of foreign exchange into Dominica, I don't see how we could just give them an F. It's lower than that. It's very much lower than that.
I
So
see
that's
you
why I'm
insist.
saying it's
Uh-huh.
generous.
I see you insist it's lower than that. But Mr. George, I don't think you guys gave a grade as it relates, and I know that's your background, to justice. What do you think about justice? What grade would you give it? Grade.
uh, I will remain consistent. All
Okay.
right. The delivery of justice, the dispensation of justice is subjective in Dominica at the moment, very subjective. That it depends on who is looking for the justice and what they will get. So right now, if somebody is within the United Workers' Parties in search of justice, that is selective. It is subjective. And it's unfortunate. It is one thing for a political directorate to seek to suppress people, and it's another thing for the judiciary, the third arm of the democratic process in a country, to be apparently part of that process. How else can you explain that charges are before the court since 2017 against opposition leaders and it cannot be heard? There's no investigation going on. All the files have been completed, and yet the cases cannot be heard. Who is suppressing it? Is it the political directorate or is it the judiciary? And if it is either of them or both of them, both arms, then that is bad. And you cannot give them an E for the dispensation of justice. It's too selective at the moment. The enforcement of law, I would probably give them a reasonable grade for policing the December 16th demonstration outside of Parliament. The police didn't seem to work towards suppressing the crowd that was assembled. But guess what? We had a visit of the Barbados Coast Guard on the 15th. They docked on our ports on the 16th, 2 o'clock in the morning. Why was that boat there? Was it there to help suppress Dominicans again when they were fighting for their rights to a proper democratic processes that other islands in the Caribbean that comprise the RSS, they have that. So if justice is tagged to law enforcement, that has to change. The way that law enforcement is done currently, it gives one a feeling that that too is selective. It ought not to be. It ought not to be.
All right, I'm going to take you on that one. We'll connect with you sometime later. Thank you, Mr. George. Very comprehensive assessment there of the system of justice, particularly on Dominicans. I want to, of course, move to you guys and the strengths of the issues we have been fighting for a few years now as it relates to electoral reform, hence the name ERC. Johnson, Boston, and the rest of the panel here. Where are we? Where are we as it relates to electoral reform?
Well, Matt, we are somewhere where we should not have been. We should have been better off.
Are you saying we have not done enough?
We have, well, we in ARC and those who believe in the genuine electoral reform have done, I would say, a great job. But the authorities who are to accommodate civilized exchange on these matters have done a horrible job. And I would say, though, that the first thing we did in 2024, January, was we brought in Senator Arnold Roberts from Trinidad here. We had a packed hall at UASP, and he had a discussion with us. We had others speaking from the Rocky Park, the Freedom Party, the UWP, NGM, and so on. So we thought we had created a platform to take off in 2024. Soon after that, we wrote a letter to the Prime Minister on the 29th of January 2024,
Okay.
asking for a meeting on the 15th of February 2024. And we also stated in that letter, or a date suitable to you. The Prime Minister, when he got the letter, he said the letter was well written and had some excitement. He called me with excitement.
He called
He
you.
called me, Mr. Lemon spoke, and he said to me on the letter, we said, electoral reform as the main topic to discuss with him and three other areas if time permits,
Okay.
right? So he asked, he said, well, the 15th of February is not a good time for him. He will suggest a date and get back to us. But in the meantime, send him a letter indicating the three other areas we're to speak to him about and the list of the delegation that will meet him. We met, we discussed, and we sent him a follow-up letter saying that the three other areas are International Airport, the CBI program, and the Roseau Enhancement Program, these three areas.
Mhm.
And we said in that letter that we could not facilitate you with the names of the delegation until you gave us a date. And the thinking was something we put a list of persons, and when you gave us a date, some of them are not available,
Okay.
and so on. So like when we get a date, everybody's okay and they are available, and we go and so forth. And since then, we have been playing games. He called again. When he called a second time, I was at the court. I don't remember when they said they had put Mr. Edison James on
Yes.
Prince warrant and so on. So I
Yeah.
went to the court and see what was happening
Yeah,
there.
all right.
When I came out from the court, walking by Issa there, I saw Mr. George. Nicholas George was right there for us on the program, and a lady there talking. So I stood there talking to them. And then I checked my phone because my phone was on silence. I saw the Prime Minister call. So I returned the call, I didn't get him. I keep on trying, didn't get him and so forth. And then when I do get him over the weekend, he said, well, he will speak to the Attorney General, and by the end of the following week, we'll have a meeting. I said, okay. I went back and report. Everybody excited to meet the Prime Minister and so forth. And then, lo and behold, nothing happened. And so when I do call, I wasn't getting him. Then I was told he was in Trinidad. At the time, Arnold had made the point about Starboy of stupidity, remember that
Right,
time,
right.
and so on. And since he came back, then I understood from somebody, he said, we had our meeting on the riverbank, so we answer our own question. So he never met us. We have never met the prime head of state, and we are contrary to the custom of having dialogue, organization having dialogue with Prime Minister Patrick John, Miss Charles, O.J. Serafin, Edison James, Rosie Douglas, Pierre Charles. This one is a special one.
A special one.
Special one.
Rosie?
Yes, Matt, I believe the ERC, as well as the political parties, the UWP, the Freedom Party leader, there's this other electoral reform group. Well, I'm not sure, it's a group, but the one um, Mr. Libla, Tony Libla.
Okay.
They had a few presentations. So together, I believe a lot have been done to educate the people about the need for electoral reform, and but the government is just resisting it, and we all know why, because the present process suits them, where they can easily rig elections. So it's not that we have not done enough. People are saying what's happening in the country, a government for 24 years, they're suffering in more ways than one. So I do not know what else we can do except not give up. The only thing at this point we can do more than we've done is to continue, is to not give up, because enough have been said and done on both sides to justify why government should facilitate the commission. The commission has not done enough, I can say. If there's an organization that's not done enough, is the commission, which of course we know the balance there. There's no balance, in fact. So they're serving the government, and they have not done enough, because really, and I agree when people say, but it's not really the government that should give us a Roosevelt scary to give us electoral reform. The government should facilitate the electoral commission to give the people, and we're not asking for
In the sky.
a pie in the sky, or we're not asking for anything evil or that will bring regress to the country's progress. But we know Roosevelt Skerrit, as he said, he wants to be there for 50 years and to pass on the reign to his sons. That is the reason Roosevelt Skerrit is not. Now, sometimes when he speaks, he gives you the impression that the opposition doesn't want it, doesn't want reform. But when you look at the recent bill that he introduced, in there, are clauses that will facilitate him to do what they've done in the past to steal elections. So, for example, there's the residence requirement. And 6.1 says, and I'm not going to say section and subsection. I just counting numbers.
I'm so particular lawyer.
Yeah, registration of electors. Part 2, number 6, it says for residence requirement, a person shall be deemed to reside in the polling district in which he or she ordinarily resident or on the qualifying date. But hear that. So that's just plain and simple. But look at that. It said the question whether a person is or was ordinarily resident at a place for any material period shall be determined by reference to all the facts of the case and the following positions. But here's the position that interests me the most, and that is you listen to it.
Mhm.
F, a person who has more than one place of ordinary residence may elect which of these places
Mm.
is to be considered as the place of ordinary residence. So you see where we're going with that, man. So for the persons residing overseas who they're not ordinarily resident here, but this provision is making allowance for you to have two residents, and now for the purpose of
The
voting
exercise, yes.
you will decide which one. So when you decide the one is in whatever avenue in New York, so nobody can, you see. So when we look at the bill there, in there, it's catering for the legitimizing of the state of election in the ways that he's done before. This cannot be just. Talking about grading on justice, -0.
-0 for this one.
As for the Minister of Justice and the AG, they're not speaking for Dominica. They're not talking justice. They're not defending Dominica. They're defending Roosevelt Skerrit and the legacy he wants to be there forever.
Nicholas George, your take? Have we done enough? I think you should unmute your mic. Your mic. Your mic. Yes. For some reason, we're not. Are you there?
Yeah,
Yeah, go
yes,
ahead
I'm
now.
there. I'm
Yes.
saying we've done quite a bit, and we are continuing to do so. Look at what stage we're here educating the public. Something fascinates me. What is it that causes the prime minister to pick a fight with people who are saying that we want consensus in the preparation of the law? What is troubling him? And I think we probably need to adopt a new form, a new political system in Dominica. The one that we are operating on is too divisive. It causes hate in the society. And once you thrive in on that division among people, and that is what the prime minister is doing. We should separate the systems that would establish the government and have it functioning, and the manner in which we contest elections. For instance, if you're a candidate to contest the election, you should find yourself in a schoolroom, a hall, a community hall, whatever it is, and debate the programs you have for the development of the community. Both of 3 or 4 candidates are debating, and let the people decide who they believe would be best suited to represent them. And then you hold the person elected responsible for what they said at the debate. And when election is called and the results are being announced, all candidates find themselves in the room where it is being announced or in the public forum, and they shake hands with whoever it is that is the winner. And then we are leaving that stage and going to work for the country. But what we are doing is selling and perpetuating hatred. And we need to get that. And so that's one of the reasons why the prime minister is striving on. He's striving on the fact that the political system allows for hatred, disunity, and anger in it. So he likes it. Let us take the electoral reform, the Electoral Commission Act. It makes provisions and a recommendation from Sir Dennis Byron that in the selection of people to be appointed on the commission, government and the opposition and the president considers people from academia, from civil society bodies, from church-based organizations, and at least one woman. That recommendation in the draft law represented and presented by Sir Dennis Byron has been deleted from the government's draft. One question, the government has what, 6, 7, 8 female parliamentarians in parliament? What is wrong with the government or the opposition and the president accepting at least one woman being on the 5-member commission? That recommendation has nothing to do with the constitution, but they jettisoned it. Electoral finance, campaign finance. The government deleted the entire recommendation from Sir Dennis Byron. from the legislation that they presented in Parliament on the 16th of December. Why? If you have a war chest of billions of dollars already, millions of dollars already, and you are so popular, why do you find it difficult to say to the public where you got your funds? Who is influencing your governance? Who is influencing your governance? Is our government purchased? Have we been bought? Has our country been sold? Because a donor donated $10 million to a political party. And now they're calling the shots as to what contracts they will get, no bid contracts, and what favors they will get in the governing of our country. That's the moral behind it. So we are saying to the Prime Minister, let us sit down and let reasonable minds come to reasonable conclusions to present laws in our parliament that will govern us for years to come. The electors list is 74,000 and counting. Why is it we can't have re-registration? Even if you use the list, let us do re-registration. The volume of work involved in the reconfirmation is the same as if you were doing re-registration. So let's do re-registration. Let's re-register everybody and give them time to do that. Give the country time. Don't hold over our heads that the Constitution says the Prime Minister can call an election at any time. And therefore, whether the Commission has completed its work or not, I am going to call an election without there being an emergency. There's not a state of emergency in the country, but yet you want to call an election because the Constitution says that. No. Let's have decency in the management of our affairs in Dominica. Let's be respectful of each other. We are only 72,000 of us.
I just want to ask that question. Are we really 72,000 people in
Well,
Dominica, Mr. George? Because we've not had a census in so long.
We haven't done it in a long time.
well,
So
you
how
see,
we
I
know
tell you what,
we're
when I went
74,000
to
people?
school,
Just guess.
when I
Well,
went to
Matt, you
school,
have to quote the last figure you had, you know. When you don't have the current thing, you
when
quote
I
the
went to
last,
school, I was
the
told
last figure
72,000,
in reference to the last
and
thing you had.
Why don't
I
you
learned that and I kept it.
you know better than
Even
all
if
you
it
do?
is higher, slightly
How was the
higher
last
or
the
lower,
census
but I
held?
believe it is
How was
lower.
the last census held in Dominica? Do you have that figure, Watson? Or Mr.
2011.
George? Do
No,
you?
the figures are available to the Statistics Division and the government. And again, the government does not think it wise to release these figures to the general public. The question is why? It's based on the census. You develop policies that will grow and develop the country. So why are you not releasing the census figures to the general public? It had been done in the past. Why are you not delivering it?
Because Mr. George, we may have a bloated list, and we need to know the real list that you want to present, and maybe clean up the list and do it again.
Precisely. So
Yeah.
the same, look, the
Yes.
same, and remember, if you check the old law or the existing law, it made provisions for registration, continual registration. It made all the things that are in the new law are actually there. And some new things that Sir Dennis Byron recommended are there and some weren't accepted. So one of them is the registration. The requirement to satisfy the registering officer that you should be registered is not stipulated in law. And that is left at the discretion of the registering officer. Similarly, the information to be placed on the voter ID card, it is not stipulated in law. So there's no statutory stipulation that the chief elections officer, the chief registering officer should go by. It is discretion. So we are asking that the basic requirements be stipulated in law. That you need a fingerprint, you need a photograph, you need an address, you need a voter an elector's number, your residence, the polling district you live in, and so on. All that should be stipulated in the law. So it takes away the discretion of the officers. Once you leave that discretion there, it now leaves these officers to the mercy of the political directorate so that they can be manipulated. If they are manipulated, it means that we are introducing corrupt practices in the governance of our country. Why is it that a prime minister and his cabinet would want to have corruption formalized or legitimized by going to parliament and passing a law that will in effect legitimize corruption? That cannot be wholesome for us.
Let's continue here. Again, I've heard many a discussion there, not too much as it relates to the population of Dominica. This is very crucial
Well, Matt,
because we might have a voters list. We haven't had a census.
yeah, because the last census I saw many years ago was about 57,000 in the 60s, below 70,000.
Yes.
And then the voters list was above 70,000. So it means based on the voters list that was presented in the last election,
Uh-huh.
you have every citizen on island voting. And there's still some missing. So something is
But
wrong.
yeah, a lot of people have migrated.
That's right.
Especially
That's
after
right.
Maria. So
Maria.
something is wrong here. Let's take a phone call. Are you there, caller? Yes? Caller. Let's move on to the next telephone call. Are you there?
Yes, Matt. Good afternoon to everybody.
Good afternoon to you.
Matt, how can anybody know what is the census of Dominica when either year before last or last year they had a so-called census in certain areas when the young people reach, they have no papers in their hands, the phone they have. And some labor are telling them, don't pass in that hole, pass in that hole, don't pass in. How can you have a census? How can you know what is happening? How can you know how many people we have in Dominica? That is what I feel last time. Thank you.
I've been home for many years now. I haven't seen anybody come with any paper or asking any questions about, what's your house like and that kind of thing. Let's take a few voice notes there. Some people want to participate. Yes. Good
afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon.
Matt, after listening to this bill, part of the bill being read by Rosie, I have to ask myself, what about the people in Dominica who have two residences? I would feel disenfranchised. I live in Roseau Central when I'm in Dominica. And my parents' home are in Monjon where I grew up and I spend weekends there. So why don't I get to choose where I vote? I want to vote for Dr. Thompson Fontaine and I still want to vote for my pal rep in Roseau. So do I have the choice of voting for either one? So why make something for one set of people, those of us living in Dominica, and another for those living overseas? Man, these people are just pure confusion. The Labour Party and the laws they want to put in place is just pure confusion. Because everything about these people is about a stealing and about a legitimizing evil. Come on, man. So you mean to tell me nobody don't looking at that? That is pure BS. Why? Moi, moi, bagay electoral reform sa Dominique qui pas ka pou place là, c'est pour moun pro electoral reform. What scary?
All right, son. Yes, go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, I think the residential option there is not just for those overseas, but for those here because they move people from constituency to constituency to vote. So when they do their maths and they figure they don't have enough, yes, if that persons admit they from Granby constituency were moved to vote in Roseau, a famous Calypsonian confessed that. So is whether you're abroad or here, but these are the ways they have rigged the election to now they want to put it in law. So anybody, whether you abroad or here, you can have two addresses, and when you're ready to vote, you choose which address you want. So you can go and vote in favor of the government that bribe you,
Let's take another
the party that bribe you.
let's take another voice note there. Yes.
Matt Peltier, good morning to you and to your listeners. Matt, you asked what would we like to see for the new year. What I would like to see, as soon as the new year starts, which is on Wednesday, I believe, I would love for you to get 3 or 4 professionals, persons who fully understand law and how to interpret law. Get 3 or 4 of them. Ask them before you bring them onto your show to look into the legislation that is being proposed and ask them to analyze it and to come with their points that they disagree with so that we can be absolutely clear on what it is that the government intends to bring forward in terms of electoral reform that is beneficial to them and to no one else. Because be warned, the first reading has gone through, and that first reading was brought to Parliament just before Christmas, I believe.
16th.
And I believe it is deliberate because Christmas would be a diversion. After Christmas, you have the week going into the new year, which is another diversion, and they've been successful in that we have not discussed this thing in depth. And we better discuss it in depth before the opportunity comes again for them to bring it before Parliament for the second and the third readings. Because once they bring it through for second and third readings, it becomes law, and then it will be very, very difficult for us to stand against what has then become law. So we need 3 or 4 professionals, people who understand this thing, to sit down and check it out, analyze it, and come and sit down on your program and talk about it before the second and third readings.
Yes.
Thank you, my brother.
All right, thank you. Also, it makes it makes sense.
Yes.
So what is the plan of the ERC? We have a second and third reading coming up. Are you guys planning to move on in terms of back against the second and
Oh,
third
yes.
reading?
We remain committed and involved to the process and ensure that we continue to educate and mobilize
Is
the community.
education the answer though?
I think people have to, because the last time we were at Parliament, I did say to the people there, they too must go on the government website and get the bills and read them. It looked like recently we went there and it's taken off. I don't know for what reason it was taken off from the government website.
Okay.
And so on. It's no longer there. I don't know if it was recently. Up to last night it was, and so on. Now, before I go into our plan for next year, let me just quickly, extend our appreciation to the President's office, because we've had very good communication when we write the acknowledge our letters and so on. And then we had a meeting with the President. In fact, we had a meeting with President Sackler when he was there. And then when the new president came in, Burton, we had a meeting with her. In fact, she invited the Attorney General to be, she told us why she invited him. And she did say to us that it would have been nice if the cabinet and the Electoral Commission permitted her. And we said to her, we tried. We sent a letter to the Prime Minister. She said several times, it's not the Prime Minister, it is cabinet. So on. But we never met the Prime Minister. Only once we were to thank them for that. And the Attorney General himself said most of what we had there are good areas that did himself looking at. And he said if we could get examples in the rest of the region, that when we meet with cabinet, we could present examples of what's gone. We got to make up the legislation on confidence and make it available. In America itself, every 10 years they do a reclaimation. They come to your home, and if you're not there, at your door, say, no, go ahead. Please visit the office on that date, give you some time, if you doesn't arrive, move you. And if you want to get back on business now, go to the electoral office to get back on the list. So forth. there was a time Jamaica had a lot of problem politically, and they have solved that through a proper general electoral system. Nothing is perfect, but at least they have a better system to work on and so forth. So these are the things we're asking. For example, the Prime Minister said we asked for campaign finance, not campaign finance, we asked for ID card, and they were proposing national ID card. They gave us photo ID card, so they agreed with us. But we're saying, why not, as Mr. George said earlier on, legislate that the biometric in the card will come through the law, not the discretion of the chief elections officer. It's like you ask somebody for bread for breakfast. They give you a bread, a dry bread. They tell you that's it. I give you breakfast, and they feel well, hooray, hooray, but they're not giving you a cup of tea, and no one else going to say. So that's the way the Prime Minister be. In 2025, we as the era to remain engaged, committed to the believe that genuine reform is a good thing for Dominica because election consequences. Election, government, the parliament takes into account your economy or the F's on the what we give there. If you have a bad government, that will find yourself. If you have a good government, you find yourself higher than that. I'll give a quick example. I've been following Barbados in recent time. And when they elect a government, if you fail in education, that can be a major campaign to remove you next election. And they had never given no party more than 2 terms. And you have to do very well in your first term to qualify for a second term. And that's the example that projected the rest of the region and so on. So we are saying that it must take interest, the common people, to continue their support, those who are supporting, and those who are supporting to extend the support and the education to their community, because we are alone, we can't do it alone. And I want to say thank you in a big way to the members of the Electoral Reform Coalition. And as we said, there are political parties, groups, and so on. And for example, is the president of the ERC. He has done a lot of work in fostering what we are doing for Rosie and the rest of the crew. And we have been doing a lot to get people to understand that electoral reform is an important matter that every citizen must.
We're going to come back to Mr. George as well. Let's take a phone call. Are you there, caller?
Yes, Mr. Belgium, just quickly. Blessings to you all, honorable men and ladies. Blessings to you all.
Blessing to you.
What are your followers?
Yes, Matt always.
I was a pirate. I don't know what you
I was a Irish. I was a father.
Just a quick observation. I do not know to the depth in which all you are going or we. I do not want to exclude me from the resistance, and I am not excluded. We had me or we had what do we call them, the RSS, the Regional Security Service, something like that.
The RSS, yes.
Okay. So let's see there what thing happened with the going in parliament, and we had the postcard right in our port. How many of I don't know. I'm asking, did we reach out to me a monthly? Did we reach out to the Regional Security Service? Get into the bowels of the semantics and the machinations. Are these people not able to do what Skerrit is doing in Dominica, and they're facilitating him to enslave us? Why? Did we get answers? And I'm saying, one caller there, a lady caller. Why wouldn't we take it? And there is more than one way to start. Yeah. And I think that is outside of the hands of politicians, because Honorable Boss, Honorable George, and Honorable Rosie and Lennox, I do not think they want to get involved in anything that would make them look bad. But can we, the people of Dominica, particularly the young people, find a way to force the hands of the criminals to have them give us what they want to shove down our throats? No matter how unpalatable it is, we are going to voluntarily take and poison our stomach. We need to rise up, people. I need you to investigate. Is it true that the Chinese are trying to acquire 200 acres of land in where Mr. Louis is there again, man?
You mean
Syndicate?
syndicate,
Is it
syndicate.
in the one? And if anytime if one are going to acquire, I do not purchase, we are going to Chinese damn much. What can we do? Bargain with the Chinese, man?
I will investigate that. Questions. Thank you very much. The point, Rosie, earlier, Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister, former Prime Minister Dominica says, the Constitution at 33 makes it mandatory that residents must be in Dominica. The point made by Rosie, the person is not qualified, I repeat, is not qualified to vote or to be registered if he or she a resident or resident outside of Dominica. Because anybody outside of Dominica can't be, eligible to vote in Dominica. You agree?
Well, I agree, but as it's stated, it's creating loopholes. Creating loopholes. If you tell me I have option to have two addresses, I can choose two addresses in Dominica. Again, it will facilitate me switching to vote, at any polling station at any time.
To your point, because somebody said that I am living outside of in Roseau South, outside of Roseau South, for 40 years. Yet I vote there, my maiden name. There's room now for double biting of the cherry because I can go to register with my married surname and then go and take the opportunity to vote twice. That can happen.
Exactly. And to those abroad, part 5 talks about the confirmation of registration. We asking for re-registration. Listen to that. The confirmation of registration shall be carried out by means of the technology-enabled voter registration system. You know what I mean? All those who are on the voters list now, who want to stay there forever, but they've been living away nanny panic. That clause there facilitates them from staying where they are and confirming that they should remain on the registration list.
But I'll give you a quick example. When I
Yes.
contested the by-election in 1996 in the Mao constituency, there was a young guy who came to live in Mao, and he called me to register him. I said to him, "Are you registered in Salisbury?" He said, "No." I said, "Mark, if you register in Salisbury, you can only ask for transfer into Mao, which will take effect not before the by-election, it will take effect in November. The what they call the thing to come now, but the legal list." So he told me, "No, he's not registered." So I took him to register because I'm going up for by-election, took him to register. But somebody was checking the vibes, and they called the electoral office. And when they called the electoral office, I got a phone call from the electoral office. And so when the person called me, he said, "Mr. Boston, do you know you already registered in Salisbury?" So I said, "Well, I'm aware I registered in Salisbury." But I asked him on multiple occasions whether he was already registered. So he said, "No," and so on. So I'm like not conducting a case to
Right.
all this and so on. So she asked me, "Well, what do you think?" I said, "That's an offense." I said, "Well, he lied to me by saying he's not registered." So she asked me, "What do you think I should do?" I said, "Well, you should take him off the Maho list. Just cancel his registration mark
Disregard,
and
yeah.
so disregard it." So therefore, I could have given a vote. So there was no checking that. I could have gone a vote in the by-election, but I told her just take it out and so on. So those things happen. We're looking at a list once the
Mm-hmm.
overall list, and saw a lady in a particular area in Roseau South. I would not say the area.
Okay.
And we saw her name. She married. Before she married, she was registered. And when she married, she registered a second time in the same constituency. So she can vote twice in that constituency by her maiden and then married and so forth. And I told her daughter, you have to advise her to remove her name in one of the areas. I mean, I prefer to recommend she with her married name because it's more recent. So unless we do the proper verification and and those things, we find ourselves with people double voting on the list. I know, for example, I don't know if you all remember that when there were a lot of persons from the Goodwill area who registered in road empty lots, and the chief election officer at the time stood up and went himself to investigate if there were houses on his lot out and remove them. And Tony has came and threatened him that he'll go to court on the matter, just to kind of like choke him,
Intimidate.
intimidate him, and so on. So choke the matter. So these things do happen. And another thing I would say quickly is, where the ERC was formed to be a bridge between us and government to do the decent things. Because there are a number of persons, like you listened a while ago, who said to us, "You all are in our way. We cannot take it." No, we do not want a situation where we have a country where we fight for electoral reform, people get hurt, police get hurt, and that's why we make all this effort. And we went to the page of presenting a nice document, preparing it. I mean, I just showed it to you. We're not on TV, yes, we're looking at things.
It's in Facebook.
Yes, yes. So we prepare this. Let me hold it properly. Yeah. We prepared this
Upside down.
upside down. So we prepared this and we made a copy available to the Prime Minister, no response. A copy available to the Electoral Commission, no response. A copy available to the President's office, they acknowledge the receipt of it, and so on. So we went through that pain to do that so that we could have a discussion among ourselves and stakeholders with the authorities. And the Prime Minister, and I'll say his government, is resisting a discussion because there are a number of persons who said to us, "You know something? When you'll call a function, we're not coming because we don't like just coming and just stand up there and say we want to take action."
As a matter of fact, I met a few of them outside in Parliament.
Parliament,
They said,
yes.
yeah, they stopped the singing. I'm tired of singing.
Yeah.
I want to go in Parliament.
In fact, some people came to me, some people came to me, quite a few of them, young men came to me and said they wanted to push the barricades.
Yes.
And so forth. And we were trying to keep them, telling them, no, no, no. And I must say the police were very, amenable and so on to us being there. Although one time the traffic was coming right through where people were standing, and I saw a lady, say a middle-aged lady, went and stood up in the middle of the road. And no matter what you tell her, she'll not move. You know, one guy said, Boston, kill what museum, Makasot.
That's right. On the telephone, are you there?
But the government is provoking the people.
Yeah.
The government is provoked
Let
the
me
people.
let me ask Mr. George. He's of course a former police officer, senior. Mr. George, I'm hearing there from many people, and we just had the discussion that you guys need to be more militant. How they respond to this? Are you there?
No, yes, I am here. And yes, we have to be more militant. But why would the question again, it arises, why does a prime minister want the people to be more militant in trying to get that which the government can deliver in parliament peacefully? Okay? And it is probably because he figures that the forces he has are sufficient to suppress, but to suppress whom? We don't have a military, we don't have an army, so they're not preventing invaders from coming into the island. You're suppressing or seeking to suppress the citizens of Dominica, and supported by CARICOM leaders, heads of state and heads of government, including the Secretary General of CARICOM. The Prime Minister made a threat. The Prime Minister made a threat to us in Dominica, in Dominica's parliament, in August when he was delivering his presentation on the budget. And he said that they can come with their protests or their demonstrations. Do not take me as in my quiet little way as if I'm docile, not test the organizing ability of the Labour Party. And in the ERC, we took that as a threat. And we asked in writing, we asked the Secretary General of CARICOM, please send an impasse intervention team to Dominica to see if you can come with some kind of consensus between the government and those who are asking for the reform.
Mm-hmm.
Not an acknowledgement. But lo and behold, on the 16th, the Prime Minister is going to Parliament, and there is sitting in our dock a military vessel. How many police officers or army soldiers were on that vessel? We don't know. Why was the vessel there on that day? Is the Prime Minister depending on RSS forces to come and stifle the militancy of Dominicans who are asking for good governance in our country. And I'm saying that that should not be the case. The last point I want to make, the other point I want to make is the Prime Minister on the 16th of December has extended an invitation to the OAS, CARICOM, and the Commonwealth Secretariat, send a delegation to our parliament to witness the second and third readings of the passages of those bills. We, as Dominican citizens, are not invited nor allowed to enter into our own house. And guess what? It seems that the Prime Minister has injuncted the truth in Dominica, because the very delegations he's going to receive from OAS, CARICOM, and the Commonwealth Secretariats have all submitted reports that supports the ERC's position for electoral reform. The Caribbean Court of Justice has done that, removed the taints in our laws. And then he has ignored all these things, including a report from Prime Minister Mia Mottley, who was then in the opposition, who conducted a consultancy equivalent to what Sir Dennis Barron did in 2013. That report has never been made public. The plethora of documentation and material that is before the Prime Minister is mind-boggling. And yet on the 16th, he says he is doing the first reading, and then citizens can now send in comments. How many times must we send in comments to this Prime Minister? So the Prime Minister is not talking the truth to the people of Dominica. When is he going to go to the second reading? Is he going, the ERC has called for a small grouping of technical, one of your colors, alluded to, you're having them on your program. But we've said put a small technical group together, meet with the Attorney General and his group, and go through the areas that are contentious. And they are not the whole bills. They're not all the bills. They're not even 20. That. And the Prime Minister will not allow that. But he will want to suppress militancy in the country because he figures he has the support of Dominica's law enforcement arm and the regional security, who have been informed. They received documentation from the ERC in June, July of 2024, and they received material in September of 2024, all of them. And they have not acknowledged receipt of this thing. Yes, I support militancy. I support standing for our rights. I support standing for making Dominica a greater place to be. I support that. But I also support that the Prime Minister allows reason to prevail in his mind and to sit across a table or appoint a committee that would sit across the table and see if we can arrive at consensus. And I know we can. I know we can.
All right, we're gonna come back to you. We'll take a break. We'll come back right here, right now. Take it around.
E-Star Trading Limited Christmas giveaway is on. Spend $75 or more, get a chance to win one of four fantastic prizes. First prize, a 4-burner gas stove. Second prize, a toaster oven. Third prize, a Ronix cordless screwdriver drill set. And the fourth prize, 10 shoppers will win vouchers valued at $100 each. Purchase items valued between $150 and $199 and get an immediate 5% off. Purchase items valued at $200 or more and get an immediate 10% discount. For purchases of $100 plus, get a large shopping bag free. For purchases of $75 plus, get a small shopping bag free. Loyalty card holders will receive double points when they shop between December 9th to December 6th. Eastern Trading Limited. We are here for you. and the management and staff of Eastern Trading Limited extends a happy 2025 to all customers.
Dominicans, Dominicans, enjoy your property, protect your property. You homeowner and businessman, protect your property, enjoy your property. Can't wait for the hurricane, can't wait till you flood again, can't wait till your roof fly out and all your business coming out. Remember, no insurance company will insure your property when a storm is approaching. Get ahead of the hurricane season and insure with a company who gives you the assurance of payment for your valid claim. Come speak with us today at the New India Assurance Company Limited, upstairs AC Shillingford and Company Limited, 24 King George Street, Roseau. Bring along an up-to-date valuation from a qualified engineer and get insured today.
Okay, Max, if I'm going to steal Christmas this year, I'll need a smart TV to keep an eye on the who's, a smartphone to call for backup, cash, and a stove to make this happen. Seriously, I can get all of this for free if I sign up for Flow.
With Christmas thing with thousands of gifts, even the Grinch would love. Sign up for a postpaid mobile bundle or high-speed broadband and win big every week. Visit discoverflow.co now.
Bloombox brings you our new branch right in the heart of Roseau to make things even easier for you to get all the best products we have in stock. Bloombox Roseau on the corner of Hanover Street and Drury Lane, next to Richard Wholesale, the same block as Western Union. Bloombox Roseau, a farmer's favorite place. New location, same great products for all your planting needs. We're open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call us at 235-3483. Bloombox, your one-stop shop for everything that grows. Let's bloom together.
Auto Trade is introducing our very own mobile app. Yes, the Auto Trade app is here. From scheduling your service appointments, request financing, checking our vehicle and parts inventory, to receiving personalized coupons and sales specials. Life is so much easier with the new Auto Trade app. Download the Auto Trade app from the Play Store or App Store today. Call us at 255-6800. Auto Trade, it's more than a vehicle, it's a relationship.
Mouvement créole à Soukir. Tout le monde créole pour attention. Comité pour études créole Dominique. Et puis Radio QFM qui est présenté. Mouvement créole. Tous les mardis soirs, au 6 après-midi. Information, blagues, interviews, l'histoire, problème, discussion, reportage, apprendre à parler et puis écrit créole. Lien avec ton peuple créole. Bon musique créole. Mouvement créole. À nous faire un rendez-vous, messieurs, mesdames. Tous les mardis soirs, QFM qui est frappé avec bon parole créole. Sans ça participer, qui est nous? Rapidement, Timama Mouvement créole à ce grand station QFM. Boachi avec nous tous les mardis soirs, 6h pour Mouvement créole. Matchez ça.
Bang a bottle. Not sure what gift to give? How about a GBA gift certificate? Our gift certificates are tailored to your budget. Located at 106C Independence Street, Roseau, just after the EC Low Black Bridge. Call us at 275-8788. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Wines and spirits are our specialty, with top brands to choose from.
Diplomatical, Brody, Chairman's Reserve, Vino Maple, Bounty, to name a few.
So make your gift giving easy with a GBA gift certificate. Season's greetings from all of us at GBA Enterprises.
Eastern Trading Limited Christmas giveaway is on. Spend $75 or more, get a chance to win one of 4 fantastic prizes. First prize, a 4-burner gas stove. Second prize, a toaster oven. Third prize, a Ronix cordless screwdriver drill set. And the fourth prize, 10 shoppers will win vouchers valued at $100 each. Purchase items valued between $150 and $199 and get an immediate 5% off. Purchase items valued at $200 or more and get an immediate 10% discount. For purchases of $100 plus, get a large shopping bag free. For purchases of $75 plus, get a small shopping bag free. Loyalty card holders will receive double points when they shop between December 9th to December 6th. Easter Trading Limited. We are here for you. And the management and staff of Easter Trading Limited extends a happy 2025 to all customers.
All right, Dominica. We have a few voice notes. We have a big following here. Let's listen to Mr. Alvin Thomas, who just sent a voice note.
Hey, man. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Let me say a pleasant good afternoon to the ERC members on your program this afternoon, and to just extend my best wishes to them as we enter New Year, and to thank them, of course, for the work that they have done over the last 12 months in Dominica as it relates to electoral reform. I also want to say to you, Matt, Happy New Year to you as well, and to thank you as well for the work that you have done in that space of democracy through the media. But in terms of the question that you just raised a while ago as it relates to the population and the electors list, that is a very vexing issue. As a matter of fact, if you read through the CCJ's report that was issued back in July of 2022, it does raise that issue as something of extreme importance. As a matter of fact, the petitions that were thrown out by Justice Glasgow did raise those concerns as well, indicating therefore that there appeared to have been a patent non-compliance of, I think, is Section 17 of the existing electors regulation as it relates to the electors list. And even the OAS themselves and several other reports that has been reported um, indicates an electors list of 74,000 plus persons. Now, that in itself is a huge issue because clearly not having a population of 70 persons or 74, how on earth can you have an electors list of 74,000 registered or persons whose name are on the electors list? So these are very important issues that has to be resolved as we enter into the new year. The electors lists are the central element of any general election, and as such, that list cannot appears to be compromised. And of course, the issues been raised as well as it relates to residency and domicile. And of course, the Constitution speaks very clearly who are entitled or under the Constitution to vote. And it certainly does not make reference of anything except residency and domicile. And again, the law, I agree with Mr. Nicholas George, that the law itself must have a definition as to what is residency and what is domicile. So these are issues that must be resolved. But in ending, Domat, I just want to make that other point. Section 51 of the Constitution does require any proposed bills, the word bills that is reflected in the Constitution, any proposed bill be first submitted to the Commission, Electoral Commission, for their comment before it's laid before the House. Now, as I understand it, and I heard two commissioners on your program before, Hillary and Wayne James, and they both indicated that they have not, as commissioners, they have not seen or made aware of any proposed bills being submitted to the Commission. Herein lies again another violation of the Constitution, because it seems to me that what is before the House now has not been properly presented in keeping with the Constitution, Section 51 of the Constitution, which clearly states that the Electoral Commission must have any proposed bills presented to them before it's presented to the House. The question that it begs the question, therefore, and maybe that's something that the ERC need to themselves verify and find out whether, in fact, the Commission received copies of those bills that were presented to the House. So there are quite a few issues that need to be resolved as we enter the new year. And again, I just want to compliment the ERC for the work that they've done over the last 12 months in 2024 on this very, very important matter of electoral reform. Thanks again, Matt, for the opportunity. And you guys and all of Dominica, I wish the best and God's blessing on the country.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's see if we can play one more there. The person insists that I play it because I suspect the person wants to hear their voice on that one there. So let's see. We're gonna try to facilitate, one or two more callers there before we move on. And I know everybody wants to participate because it's a very interesting program there in the afternoon. Let's go.
I listen to Brother George, man. Brother George, for Brother George to reach that position of supporting, militants, you know what that is for Brother George? A statesman, and I hear the agony in his voice, agony in his voice. Matt, I have sat in the ERC, Matt, and I have seen the struggle to keep this thing tempered by folks, really, trying their best to avoid some sense of dissonance in the country. And we keep asking the question about violence. The only person who wants violence in Dominica is the Prime Minister, because in violent and dissonant conditions, he can use the law and he can keep doing what he's doing and send people home and have them afraid of tear gas and all those things. So he is the one. He benefits from dissonance in the society. So I want to applaud the RSC for trying, but I'm telling our brothers and sisters, bro, we got to get the people ready. We got to get the people, because this Prime Minister has no interest in answering to our call. None whatsoever. It is not in his benefit, because the reason why he's doing these things is to protect his legacy and his future, just as Anthony Astafan promised. We're going to have to stand up for this, brothers and sisters. We're going to have to stand up for this.
Rosie, are you one who believes that we need to stand?
But of course, Matt, we need to stand, and we speak about the people who want action. They want to stand. And if we're not their numbers, it doesn't work. Matt, a few years ago, when governor was going to pass a bribery law,
I remember.
Right. You know what we did? We threw down the fence and they shot a bullet in the air. That bullet was not after us. I will say that loud and clear. But they alerted those in parliament, hey, they're serious outside there. They have broke the barricade. And you know what the Prime Minister and everybody did? They fled parliament from the Victoria Street entrance. When we went on this December 16th, they had double barricade. So they had one from the High Street end, to Dawa School building, and then they had another one which was a little more on that corner by ACS there, and they had chains, interwoven into it. So I don't think the police really want to hurt us, but they also had a couple buses there with others filled, I guess, with guys in there and their tear gas. But the intention really is to stop the passing of any law that is not in the interest of the people. The law cannot be only in the interest of the government. Parliamentarians are Dominicans. So if we the people are standing and in large numbers, because that is what, if you just have people who want to throw down barricade, if you just have 3 people throw down a barricade, guess what? Police just going to drag them like, was it Mills who had dragged somebody, the last time? But at least they fled the parliament. We need numbers. We don't want violence. I agree, Blessing. I'm not into the violence. I want to be alive when the victory comes. I want to be there. But we have to stand, and that is what
you confident it will come?
Listen, Scared knows we have done enough, but he's testing us. So he went to parliament and said, going to do a first reading. And of course, they're peeping outside to see, okay, what they say after. Just a handful, just the same suspects. But let a crowd, a big crowd of thousands, see if they're not, their bowels not going into emergency into that place in the parliament there. Because they will realize the people are serious. And that is what we need. But I'll go back to the point I'm making every time about honesty. We raise our children. They have to account. They go to the message. They have to come back and account for the change. If they come home with something that they did not get it from, they have to account. What are we parents, teachers, church? What is church?
But is the church saying enough, Joe?
Well, the church can say more. We do what the church has said and stopped. Like my church has said a lot and stopped. And my church continues speaking. We cannot stop until it's not over, until it's over. Yesterday we had what we call opening of Jubilee. I mentioned Jubilee year, and the bishop in his homily he spoke about hope. Our the theme for the Jubilee is been pilgrims of hope, and I could never miss that, not for anything. I heard him say, and he referenced the Pope. Part of hope is raising our voices against evil and injustice. Raising our voices against evil and injustice. And we are church. All of us are church. So the head of the church speaks, but there are plenty people in the church, Matt, that not speaking. who have contract there, who have contract there, they're not speaking because they want to, the same thing. Like, see the little people that get their ham and they don't say nothing because they want to get their ham next year and year after and year after. There are people, they want their contracts. We are all a church. We're talking about the domestic church. Every little family is the church mat. So while the Pope is speaking and the bishop speak, well, the new bishop, leave that new bishop still. He just rich. All those that there that's supposed to speak, they're not speaking. So leave the bishop alone. But
For now.
yes, for now. But those we have Matt, we have something called a social and justice committee, you know. A diocesan social and justice committee. More zip.
You see nothing.
Nothing. And I'm not happy about that, and I've told them.
Okay, let's see if we can take a quick voice note there. Yes.
Good afternoon, Matt, to you and your listeners. Matt, for 2025, this goes along for Barso and all the politicians. The president is not on your side. The prime minister doesn't care what you write, what you do. You need to change your mindset and think more militant. Stop with the nice guy gentleman stuff. It's not going to work. This is war. Do you understand what that means?
All right. He says, Matt, again, the prime minister is only sending diversion for opposition, the key, and they keep on talking. For 2025, no more talking. Just ask for the lady this morning, what's prayers without action? The same applies to you in Dominica. Dominica doesn't have strong men. So let the women lead the way. I've heard that many times. So also you guys have no balls. That's what we're hearing there.
No, we have balls.
You have balls because you guys have a lot of patience. Patience.
But I agree with the caller who said this doesn't call for niceties.
Niceties.
And we have done that for all this time.
Okay.
Because the ERC was formed in November 6, 2023. 22.
22. Okay.
22. So
you've been talking for a little while.
For a little while, and so on. Now, you heard reference made to the Prime Minister and his ministers saying only a handful by Parliament. But if you're a government of decency, even if it's one person who speaks on something that has some issue and they're uncomfortable with, you ought to listen to that and see if there's merit in what they're saying.
But don't you think, and the point was made though earlier, I think, by some of the people that we need to mobilize. How do you mobilize? Do you need the funds? Do you need a fundraising activity to pay for the buses to carry the people?
Certainly we need the funds, we need the support, and we need to go to the communities and meet people on their turf, speak to them and so forth. So we need the support from locally and overseas, right? Now, I think I would say a little earlier call and talk about the trickery that is being implied,
right?
Applied in this situation. I was just saying to Rosie earlier on, in 2007, 2008, the Freedom Party invited Mayor Motley and her friend David Simmons, to Dominica, and the idea was for them to be called to the bar, in Dominica, so we could hire them as the lawyers to fight this reformation. That is in 2008, right? No, yes, 2008. And immediately they heard that because when she came, we thought Singola could sponsor her at the court. But Singola is below her level because she's a Queen Counsel.
Right.
Okay. So Tony Astepan voluntarily sponsored her, being, called to the bar here, local bar. So immediately after that, Skerrit probably with Tony Astepan advice and gave her consultancy. She was in the opposition, leader of the opposition Barbados there.
Okay.
So she worked, and then a particular commissioner appointed by the government said, her report doesn't even worth the paper it is written on. So that's why we've never seen the report.
You've never seen a report?
Never seen a report. So the whole
So you paid for the report?
Well, government paid for the report. Dominica paid for the report.
And you have never seen that report?
Never seen a report, and so on. So it tells you these guys have been playing games over and over. So here, Freedom Party brought Mayor Motley to be called to the local bar here so she can practice here. Immediately, he gave her consultancy, so to tie things up and so forth. And you heard reference was made to the regional security system. Barbados is the head of the system, and therefore now she's accommodating Skerrit now in his behavior by even allowing her Barbados Coast Guard to be here, and so on. It also tells you that the government has no confidence in the Commissioner of Police and the police generally. I mean, they have one or two there that they will depend on to do nonsense. But generally, they have no confidence because we have had greater things than going by parliament before. And our local officers take care of it. You know what I mean? They take care of it and so forth. So if now in 2024, we can't take care of our situation and have a prime minister of the government provoking the people, then shame on us.
All right. Mr. George, I'm sure you'll want to comment on that because we're talking for the past few minutes about militancy, and somebody said that they find you in other words, in local parlance, you come out on that one. Yes, Mr. George.
Yes, but I still have a question. I have a question for the Prime Minister because when we speak militancy, we're speaking confrontation, which is what the Prime Minister said in August when he presented on the budget. He was confrontational, and we asked. I must repeat that we asked the CARICOM Secretary General to send an impasse team. That didn't happen. On the 10th of it was the 10th of November, the Labour Party had their convention. And then we had two prime ministers, one from Grenada and one from St. Lucia. They both insulted us. Mr. Michel in Grenada is the beneficiary of the sacrifices that I and other officers from Dominica made in 1983 when we were dispatched to Grenada to reinstate democratic principles in Grenada after the assassination of Maurice Bishop. And that which was placed in the laws in Grenada is what elected Mr. Michel into office. Yet he comes down here and insults us. And then the other one, Mr. Philip J. Pierre, called me in my country an enemy of the state when I am saying to my prime minister in Dominica that I need legislation that would lead to free and fair election. So the question goes to the prime minister. What is his threshold? How many people must be injured, killed, maimed, and how much property must be damaged before he's satisfied that he has suppressed a people who are militant? Or he goes to a negotiating table to agree to the very items that the ERC has been asking for. Let us sit across a table with technical people and agree to what it is that we're asking that should be in the law, and then you go and campaign. Why does the prime minister set people up? That's not what he's paid for. He's paid to bring peace in Dominica, not to rile people to violence. And the last time he insulted us again and telling us we don't know about our ancestry. I know about my ancestry. I walked the soil that Parcel walked, and the area that he lived, that is where I now have my garden. And Fassel was a liberator in Dominica, like Jaco and Bala. So I know my history, Mr. Prime Minister. We do not want to repeat that because you are a black man in a black country and you are suppressing me much more oppressively than if it were the British or the French in Dominica. And you must stop that.
All right, hold on there, hold that thought there. I'm going to play a quick voice note before we wrap it up this afternoon. Listen.
Good afternoon, Matt. I believe the pressure or the demonstration or demonstrations must start from Marigot. I believe the opposition should try to find out the day of arrival of the dignitaries or the diplomats, whatever you want to call them, and have as many people from the Marigot, Wesley area, environment, any amount of people you can get into the Marigot area and peacefully start your demonstration there with your placards. Don't block the road, just wait when you're leaving the airport to make sure they know what is to come. After that is done, the day of the reading, we've got to get people not only from Roseau, because let's face it, I understood about 40 shops
or stores, whatever you want to call them, supermarkets in Roseau, and all of them are controlled by Chinese. The Chinese are not going to allow the workers to demonstrate like in the days of old. No. So the opposition have got to get money from somewhere and see if they can get hire as many buses from all constituencies and come into Roseau. Not only will you have numbers, but you're going to have a traffic jam. Let's say you have about 30 to 40 buses in Roseau. That's going to be a traffic jam. And this is where the effect will take place. We cannot do that. And by depending on people coming, or the people living in Roseau and Goodwill and Newtown to come and demonstrate, security is going to laugh at us like it did the last time. Okay, Matt? You have a nice day.
We have 2 more minutes. Let's go around the table. We're going to start with Bosso, and we'll end with the powerful woman, the Rose. The Rose. Good afternoon to you again, Bosso. Let's get your comment and we wrap it up. Yes.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for allowing us
Of
this
course.
afternoon. We know today is the
The,
20th
the eve of the final day of the year.
of the year.
Yes.
Wednesday's New Year's Day.
Mhm.
So we want to wish everybody a happy New Year. I guess people had a good season in spite of the struggle that they went through.
Yeah.
I want to thank you, Matt, for your, as Alvin said earlier on, for your standing firm in the work that you do and you facilitate every Dominican on all sides, right? I mean, I've heard you raising funds for people who have had struggles on all sides of the divide. And I want to thank you so much for being the radio for the voice of the people to be heard throughout the country, the region, and the world. Thank you and its management for that. I want to say thank you in a big way to all those who have supported the ARC financially and with advice and suggestions and so on, and those who have showed up at the Parliament on the 16th to stand with us, all the members of the ARC from various organizations from the ARC. I want to thank them and wish us all well in 2025.
Mr. George,
Yes,
closing comment.
I just have a plea to the Prime Minister that and it's based on what he said in Parliament on the 16th. Prime Minister, the comments from the ERC, consider them resubmitted to you and agree to have a technical committee from the Office of the Attorney General and representations from the ERC to meet across a negotiating table to discuss those elements that have been recommended that should be part of the law that he's introduced to Parliament, so that when he gets to the second and third readings, the people will be satisfied that good law is going to be passed in our Parliament. That's my plea. That is my New Year's wish from the Prime Minister to the Prime Minister. And I just want him to accept that the law as it is bad law, but it can be fixed before the second and third readings. Thank you.
Thank you. Rosie, Felix, wrap it up for us here this afternoon.
Yes, Matt, I want to direct my closing comments to the church. I want to thank my church, Catholic Church, for speaking out over the years. Bishop Mazet spoke before he left, Monsignor John Rees, Father Karam. My church has spoken, but I wanted to speak again. But I'm also calling on the other churches. Well, Pastor Rodney is always speaking, but the other churches that are silent, because this is, you see, we're talking about electoral reform there, but this is a whole moral and integrity issue. We cannot continue to raise our children. We cannot progress under a corrupt government and expect that our children will flourish, like the young lady said, the youth leader said, leadership or excellence without integrity is shallow. This is a moral issue that eats in our families, and I'm calling out on the other churches to speak up as well, like the SDA, the Methodist, the Anglican. We don't hear them. The Baptist, the Pentecostal, the Yahwist, everybody crying, and our families are the center of it. And if we do not have strong families, we cannot have a strong society. So I'm calling on all these various denominations and church groups. We all stand for morality and integrity. And that is what is being attacked by this government. We can no longer go into another decade and just as business as usual. The church, and I'm referring to the universal church here, all of us who acclaim God, Yahweh, Jehovah, we need to speak out. So that is my call this afternoon, because we have to face this monster as one.
Thank you, Rosie Felix there. I'm going to end with Checo.
We need our electoral reform.
Our next stop, Flow Dominica.
Call the cabinet. Our money can just go away like that. Dominicans spend their money. You should perform your duty. How long before we get our reform? We have some election.
Uncertainty with CNW Business. Through disaster recovery as a strategy solution, CNW Business will safeguard your critical data, maintain seamless communication channels, and help you bounce back faster than ever before. Visit our website, cwcbusiness.com/myopenbusiness to learn more. Remember, a safe business is an open business.
Rozo, you know, fiber ready. Enjoy faster speeds and bigger savings on Dominica's most reliable network. Sign up now or upgrade to a Flow Fiber internet package and get 1 month free internet service. Add a postpaid mobile to your package and save 50% off your mobile bill every month. Plus, get a smartphone absolutely free. Rozo, are you ready for the Flow Fiber fast internet experience? To feel the speed, visit the Flow flagship store or call 440-3569 for more information.
When a stroke occurs, you have 60 minutes to win or lose the race of your life. There are new treatments, but you must get to the hospital fast. If you suddenly feel weakness on one side or have trouble speaking, walking, or seeing, it could be a stroke. Call 911 or 999. Get to the hospital, because how you spend the next 60 minutes could determine how you spend the rest of your life. Stroke. Know the signs. Act in time. A message from the Reasta Foundation in partnership with Flo Dominica.
Roots Rock Bar and Grill presents Recognize Wednesday, each and every Wednesday, featuring selector urban and special guest DJs, 9 p.m. till very late. Drink specials, Roots Rock Bar and Grill in Tata. See you there.
When I reach any party, everybody don't know. Oh, oh, oh. If you think I'm crazy, it's the music that got me so. Oh, oh. When my party people, throw your hands in the sky. I. Come, my friends, I need you. It's time to raise the vibe with your hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air. This is how we flow. Yeah. Flow, it's love. Yeah. Hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air. This is how we flow. Yeah. Grab somebody and tell them.